So, my name is Patrick. Some of you might know me from those silly videos that I post on social media where I'm trying, emphasis on trying, to simplify financial concepts for people. I'm a financial advisor by profession, and one of my jobs is to help design people's financial futures. And in this session, we're going to introduce this concept. Okay, so I've been advising businesses and people on their financial decisions for the past 14 years or so now. I am a CFA charter holder and also a CPA by trade. But my passion project is Finance4U, which you can see on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram, and all over social media, basically. And I want to empower people to have access to financial education, which I feel is quite lacking in the community, right? I'm also a financial planner. Some people call me a financial coach. Okay, and I give both individual and also couples financial coaching sessions. Okay, I'm also in the process of giving, right, giving group workshops as well. And my main job is that I'm a visiting lecturer, right? So I teach at the University of Malta, and I also teach master's level and ACCA level degrees at um, for ACCA, right? In various business schools. Now, generally, we've been conditioned to think that money is dirty, right? Money is power. Money is greed. And some quotes that come to mind are, I am sure you have heard this, money doesn't grow on trees, right? I personally have heard this 5 million times. Money is the root of all evil. Hell, that's in the freaking Bible, right? And my personal favorite is actually by Notorious B.I.G., right? More money, more problems. I hate that one. I hate that song. So this brings us to some more food for thought. I want you to do a bit of a soul searching exercise with yourself and think about how often did you and your family and friends ever speak about your money situation in detail, right? How often did you speak about your savings? How often did you talk about your investments? Okay, and actively actively spoken about them. I bet you that you can either count the number of times you did so on one hand, or maybe you just glossed over the topics. Okay, and worse still, I'd like you to go back to your school days, okay, and ask yourself whether anyone has taught you how to manage money, what taxes are and how to pay them, how to build a budget, how to pay off debt, and more importantly, how to deal with financial uncertainty, which is a reality that most people have to face every day. And it's a stunning statistic, actually, that the number one reason, or one of the main reasons, top three at least, that couples separate or divorce is because of money. Okay, and money is still a taboo, money is still not talked about, and it is no wonder that when communication does eventually start, it breaks down. Okay, but fortunately, guys, it's not too late for us to start designing our financial futures. And I want to give you the tools to do that. I want you to be able to control how much is coming in and going out of your bank account, and I'd like you to hopefully increase what is coming in. Okay, and you look at the statistic, a study conducted by Capital Group, which states that people in the UK in this case were more comfortable talking about race, sex, politics, and mental illness, so very sensitive topics, right, than they were talking about their salary, their debt, and their retirement savings. So I guess I'm an outlier. I'm an anomaly here because I get a kick from discussing my financial vision and my clients' financial visions. I really enjoy this stuff, partly because I'm on a bit of a mission to break the stigma and to start, I wouldn't say educating people, but let's say tapping into finally the learning gap that unfortunately school and university has opened for us, has left us with. Okay. Anyway, I'd like to share with you a little story to show you why financial planning is so important. Okay, so in 2012, I had been working for 3 years as a tax advisor. I was doing well, my boss liked me, and I was tax manager at the time. So what could go wrong? One can ask, right? The answer is nothing much, except the fact that I hated my job. I felt like a bean counter. I always wanted to study business planning, financial analysis. And so one fine day, I decided to pack my bags and take the plunge. And I did that by doing something else that was different from the norm. Rather than go to the UK, as a lot of people did, I decided to ply my trade in Spain. Okay, I went to Madrid. I studied in Madrid, my master's in Madrid. So before that, I took out a 25,000 euro loan, which coupled with my car loan of around 15,000 it was at the time, made me rather heavily indebted. Okay, and anyway, the 25k was meant to cover my course to the tune of 15k, which was the cost of the course, and then 10k for accommodation and other expenses. Okay, and unfortunately, at the time, I was exactly next in the list to be provided a scholarship. Okay, so I did not, I just about lost out on a scholarship to some people with, let's say, nicer sounding surnames, unfortunately. So my fallback plan was an expectation to work part-time while I was studying, right? So after all, I worked in Malta and, why can't I do it in Spain, right? Wrong. This was until the economy plunged into crisis. Okay, now imagine living in Spain at the time. For every three people round the table, chances are that one of you is unemployed. Okay, so unemployment went up to 30% when I went there. Even worse, youth unemployment, so people between 18 to 25, okay, youth unemployment was at 60%. So can you imagine 2 out of 3 people being unemployed? It's crazy. It was really unfortunate timing. Anyways, so the word, crisis was everywhere. You wake up, you watch the news, crisis, crisis, crisis. We were brainwashed. Everyone was brainwashed that this is a crisis of epic proportions. And if we look at these, I literally, I mean, speaking of these banners, I literally would be walking in the street, and all of a sudden, a violent protest would um, would right would happen, right? A violent protest would break out. And if starting from the one on the left says capitalism, privatization of social benefits, socialism of losses, right? If we move on to the right, it's not a crisis, it's a robbery. Say no to spending cuts. Third, bottom left, don't stay at home, they might take it away from you. And my personal favorite, the one on the right, bottom right, homeless, jobless, benefitless, fearless. So yeah, as soon as I touched down, shit got real. So I knew my part-time job ambitions were over as soon as they started, right? I needed a plan C. Plan A was a scholarship, plan B was a part-time job, plan C was what the hell am I gonna do? Now, in the first few nights, I just couldn't sleep at all. So around about the third night or the fourth night, I just couldn't take it any longer, and I felt I had to do something, right? And what I did was I just grabbed an Excel sheet and I asked myself, right, what is the least amount of money that I can spend to maintain my health and safety, right? And then I started jotting down what's my expected income, right? Okay, zero. What are my expenses? Okay, I have 300 to pay in rent, I have 100 in food, etc., etc. And at the end of each and every month, I compared what I actually spent to what I budgeted to spend, what I intended to spend. Okay, so at this point, I had been studying finance since the age of 12 in some shape or form, so basically half my life, if not more. And this, unfortunately, bitterly, um, at this point is when I made that dreaded realization that school or college or university do not prepare us for this shit. And this, my friends, was the start of my life's work, okay? To empower people to get a hold of their finances, okay? So today, I'm going to discuss what a spending plan is, okay? So, a spending plan is probably the first thing that you need to do when you earn some money, okay? And it is centered on the 50-30-20 rule. The 50-30-20 rule simply states that you need to take all the amount of money you earn, okay, after taxes, which is the blue box. At least I think it's blue, okay? So your post-tax income and place 50% into a bucket, okay, for your needs, all right, which are things that you just can't live without. So you budget for that. You budget for your groceries, you budget for your housing, you budget for mortgage, insurance, and so on. Okay? Then you allocate or you budget 30% of your post-tax income into wants, right? Into your wants. So these are Netflix, Spotify subscriptions, dinners, eating out, lunches, okay, traveling, and so on. And finally, the rest, the 20%, is the most important bit. Okay, we call this ESI. ESI is early debt repayment, savings, and investing. Okay, and investing. Okay, and in reality, this 20% needs to come first before the 50% or 30%. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is allocate 20% of your post-tax income into these small sub buckets. Okay, these small sub buckets. And in reality, the positive is that most of your expenses, let's say excluding the wants, are generally fixed. Okay, so that means they don't really change from month to month, and that means they can be automated or anticipated. Okay, so that is the learning for today. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. And next time I will go into the pay yourself first principle. Okay, so what does this mean? And how do we start allocating our funds into these different buckets. Okay, thank you for your time and see you next time.